Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to be breaking down how to write a falling in reverse song in 10 minutes or less. Alright, so I'm here in the Pro Tools session. So this video is going to be similar to our Ice Nine Kills video. I wrote this song before I ended up turning on the camera and started filming. Falling in Reverse has a pretty diverse catalog. If you go back to like The Drug in Me Is You versus Popular Monster versus All My Life versus like Zombified, you've got some that are a little bit in the same vein. There's a whole load of different styles when it comes to Falling in Reverse. In this video, we're going to specifically focus on the Popular Monster kind of style format. So that's what this song was kind of based off of. Falling in Reverse uses a lot of production behind all of the guitars and the drums, and I think that's what really makes it. Their stuff is very cinematic. There's a lot of sound effects used. There's a lot of cinematic style things. So to start, I'm going to play you guys the intro, and then we're going to break it down. So to start, I pulled in and I found this really cool sample. It's like kind of a reverse swell type of piano thing. It sounds very similar to Watch the World Burn, and I thought it was rad, and I used this to start the song. After that, we go into this little section where you start to hear kind of more of the actual elements of the song kicking in. I've got this piano. And that's just doing kind of a simple repeating little melody, kind of spooky. And then I've got this kick and snare pattern going underneath it as well. And then more of the effects stuff. We've got a impact with a swell. Very cinematic, like we talked about. And then we've got these cool clock sounds. That's another thing that Falling in Reverse tends to use in some of their productions. It's like this clock ticking sound on the beat. So what I did was, these are all the same sample. I just put the offbeats on a separate track. And as you can see over here in the effects tab, I've got some distortion, some verb, some EQ. The EQ is really just cutting out the lows. That's all it's doing. And then I have some pitch, and I've pitched these differently so they sound like different samples. And it sounds pretty cool. And I just have that underneath, and it adds a really cool vibe. That's what I've got going on there. The second half of the verse, these strings come in, and these strings are just kind of doing, again, what the piano's doing. It's a different melody, but it's in the same vein. They're just kind of doing a repeating melody line underneath. So, of course, we have another impact sweep. I have those on any time a section switches. So I'll play you guys the section where the strings come in. Let's jump up to guitars, because this is where the actual guitars come in. Falling in Reverse, in a lot of the verses, they have kind of more of a choppy rhythm that's going on with the guitars, I've noticed, and I wanted to kind of recreate that. Sounds pretty cool. And then for the drums, we're just doing a little floor and kick drum and snare pattern. I'll play that for you. And that just comes in kind of every time the riff cycles. And then jumping down to the effects, the only thing we're adding is we're adding a clap sound effect on the snares. So I'll play that for you. And then during the second half of the pre-chorus, the only thing we're adding is a effects riser. This is something they do quite a bit in their music. Now, in the context of the mix, it sounds really cool. It just kind of gives this build, and then we break into the chorus. So you'll notice here at the end of the verse, we drop out for half of a bar. I do that for a quick dynamic change. I think it's important. They write very, very dynamically, so a lot of the stuff, there's, parts where it goes very quiet, parts where it goes very loud, and it just kind of helps. It gives this quick dynamic change. It grabs the attention of the listener and then brings them right back in when we slam down into the chorus. So let's take a look at the chorus real quick. So as you heard there, the guitars are doing a pretty simple chord progression. Underneath it, we have a lead guitar part. Just kind of a basic metalcore lead. Nothing too fancy. It's pretty buried in the mix, but it's just kind of there to add a little bit more. This is also where the bass comes in. And then drums, we're starting with kind of a basic metalcore style beat. During the second half of the chorus, we build up the drums and we go like double time. So you'll hear that here. And then towards the end here, we're just doing a little thing on the toms. And this is also happening in conjunction with the guitars and the bass, but it's just doing this like den-at pattern. And that's just to break it up slightly to run back into the chorus and to make it kind of gel a little bit better. So something I have not talked about yet on this channel is what I'm using for drums. I'm going to give you a quick, brief overview. If you guys would like me to do a full rundown and show you how I'm producing these to get the sounds that I'm getting, let me know in the comments. I'm using the Luke Holland Mix Wave Kit. Obviously, it works really well for falling in reverse because Luke Holland is their drummer. And then I'm sample replacing the snare and the kick with some samples using Trigger 2. So those were the drums. Let's go to the effects. It's really not crazy for the chorus. We're just using this very low volume synth. This is the Kanata preset. More just kind of like a swelly kind of thing. That's kind of what I was going for here. And then on top of that, we're using our piano, our little kind of swelly reverse loop as well, just to add a little bit more texture. And then finally, we've got our strings in there. So out of that, the structure stays pretty similar to our normal kind of metalcore song structure. We're doing intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and then we repeat the verse, the pre-chorus, and the chorus. And then after this second chorus, we go into the breakdown. So I'll play that for you real quick. I was just listening back and I heard something that I think could sound cool. So let's track it real quick. All right, so the breakdown, what I'm doing for guitars here is Falling in Reverse likes to do a lot of bends and a lot of just like chugs on 0. And then I've got the drums and they're just matching what the guitars are doing. We're using really no effects other than some explosions. And we've got this riser buildup as well towards the end. So after the breakdown, we jump to a intro section. And I'll show you what I'm using effects-wise. I'm using the piano, I'm using the little reverse kind of swell thing, and then I'm just using an impact and the clock ticks. And then I'm also, as you can see here, using this riser again, and I have grabbed it and I've faded it up so it kind of comes in a little bit later. And I think it helps kind of bring it back up to jump back into that hard change into the chorus. And then that's really it. It just ends right after the chorus. Thank you guys for joining me for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of how I wrote a Falling in Reverse style track. If you liked the video, make sure to go hit the like button, hit subscribe, and let me know down in the comments below what you would like to see next. As always, this track will be for sale down at the link below. Make sure you hit that. First come, first serve, as always, so make sure you get it quick before it goes. Once again, thank you guys so much. Here's the finished track.